Yeah, but you got glasses. I haven't.
Right.
That's your disadvantage.
That's right.
You see.
I'm visually impaired, which comes in very handy on a beach. You have to feel your way around.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
Well, see, like I say, I've got one of these arms that just does what it wants, so I have a lot of excuses as well. So,
well, this would be a good point to start the show. This is the Bill and Jason show this week. I'm Jason Jones. There's Bill Hermann, and our special guest is Pete Hawkins, who is a DJ, has a company called DJ at My Party. He serves Surrey and Hampshire, which is over there in England, and it's we got to know Pete when he attended our Entertainment Experience workshop while we were over in London just a little while ago, and thought he was so inspirational and wanted to have him on the show. Pete, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks ever so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's really exciting. We've been kind of joking a little bit.
I wish you'd slow down. I mean, the weird way you talk. I mean, what is that?
Well, from Surrey, we talk really fast. I mean, I can talk slower if you wish, and if you want, I could talk a little bit louder, which is what we do to all foreign-speaking people. But that's just my take on things, not the world.
I think that's the international translator. That's how you translate internationally, is you speak slower and louder.
Yeah,
right.
As always.
Yeah, every time. So and for the viewers of this show and myself, is that I have a tendency to just tune out on what you're saying and just listen to your accent, because it's like whatever you said sounded really cool. What were you talking about?
Well, I am from near London, so that makes it pretty cool.
It does.
Yeah, as always. But again, thank you ever so much for inviting me on the show.
You're very welcome, and we're glad to have you. We were going to have someone from London, but what we found out being there is that just nobody lives in London is from London.
No, there isn't really. Lots of people live outside London. And you ask the question, do you live in London? No, I don't live in London. I live in Hampshire, or I live in Surrey, like I do. In the evening, London's very empty. And for all Americans, it is always foggy and it's always raining.
That describes our trip right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was like, that's exactly, but it was for us, it was warm. We were it was like tropical. We avoided some of the coldest weather.
I
in
wore
Minnesota
shorts,
being there.
Sandals, and it was 40 degrees. It was the greatest thing in the world. Here in Minnesota, it was 40 degrees below zero, for gosh sake.
Thanks for that weather. So tell us how long have you been in the DJ business?
I've been DJing about 35 years.
Wow.
So yeah, I started off as a teenager, and I've only just reached my 21st birthday, as you can probably tell.
Yeah, I can tell.
By the distinct lack of hair and everything else. But about 35 years. I started off at school, is where I started.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, what had you even think like, hey, I want to be a DJ?
Well, basically, I suffer from a disability called left hemiplegia, which basically it caused me at a young age of 8. I had a stroke and paralyzed me down the left side. So I did all kinds of stuff over the time of deciding what I wanted to do. I tried swimming. I tried football. Football decided not to be the greatest sport of ever, because only playing with one hand, being in the goal, was not the best place to be. As I think I explained, 26-0, we lost. So I took a decision that maybe sport is not my way to go.
Okay.
So after a lot of thought, I went to a youth club, and there were some guys there who were DJs, and they were getting beyond their age, and they needed to leave the youth club. And they asked me, would I like to have a go? And I thought, it's worth it. Why not? I'll try.
Sure.
And I duly did. And people just said to me, you seem to play the right tunes at the right time, and you seem to enjoy it. And all of a sudden I had this God-given talent I never realised I had. So I then started hiring the equipment from the youth club and used to go out and do my own little house parties for friends and that, and it was awesome.
That's great. Yeah,
that's how it started.
To fill in the blank just a little bit, like what are you not able to do in terms of your with your arm? One side of your body doesn't work quite right, and how is that affected? So people know specifically what you're talking about.
Well, basically, I've lost the complete use of my left arm, which means I can only use my right hand. And also I have an issue with my leg as well. My leg doesn't work quite as well. But generally, when it comes to mixing, I started off with vinyl. So we're going back a few years. And with vinyl, it was even more of a challenge, DJ, than it is today. Because you had to try and do about 5 different things. So I learned how to sort of manipulate what I was doing to my advantage, really. But obviously now we've got to the point of electrical MP3 kind of things. It's even much easier for me now.
Sure.
Even more things with the things like looping and effects that I never was able to do beforehand.
Yeah. So how did you do that with vinyl?
A lot of practice. Basically, mixing was the biggest challenge of all. Was obviously trying to get the platters or the turntables at the right speed to start with, and then beat mixing. So it was a very basic form of beat mixing for me. I didn't do any cutting and splicing or scratching because it was just too difficult. So I just really learnt with the basics and just became more accomplished with that, really. And then looking at ways of beat matching differently. You know, maybe doing an offbeat beat match. So it gave a different kind of effect. So we almost had like an echo effect. And it just, you know, it was just trying to do things a little bit differently for me and trying to work around it. Obviously, I made mistakes on the way. But if we don't make mistakes, we definitely can't progress forward.
Right.
So when you got better at it, was it that you were better at or faster with the one hand, or did you bring an extra tool in that you were able to use, or was it just you got very good at start, mix, move, just very fast?
Yeah, exactly that. And obviously, all my equipment, I've always tried to look at equipment that's always very close to each other. So there's not any great distance from each fader, from each knob, so I can access it quickly, because it is key about that for me. Because if you make one mistake, that's it. The mix has been wasted.
Right. Yeah, if you miss that window, then it's wait for the next window, if there is a next good window, to mix out of it. So you got to just really. So you built up some courage in terms of like plunging in, like there's the window, bam, we're gonna hit it, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
Yeah, and for me, it was all about being behind the decks, because I certainly wasn't a guy that would step out in front and be a presenter. Be a host or anything like that. And again, it's only it sort of brings me forward a bit now. It's only recently, after being on a Marbecca course and of course your course, where I've stepped out in front of the decks and now becoming a host, because I was just personally really nervous about it. And through me stepping out, there was nowhere for me to hide anymore.
Sure.
And because I didn't have to hide, I then it built my confidence up a lot. And okay, I do still get a little bit self-confident, as you know, after being on the course. But once I've passed that, you know, the ceiling's just only part of the distance to go. You know, I've got the sky to reach yet now.
Well, it's funny you even bring it up. You seemed like a very self-confident person the day that I met you on the first day of the course. In fact, it wasn't until maybe an hour before the end of the day that I knew that you were doing anything more than you were like about to surprise me with some flowers or something. I swear I didn't know that you had any kind of issues with anything, except that you kept one hand behind your back at all times, and a lot of presenters do that.
Yeah.
So I can see where you would think that your self-confidence is low, but from our perspective, you came ready to dive in to the deep end and very confident about what you were going to learn and making mistakes. And honestly, even your disability, I didn't even know about until about almost the end of the first day.
I mean, it's funny really, because I've over the years I've learned how to hide it, but actually inside I'm a very nervous person, and that's what's so strange. I mean, as I may have explained to you before, I have a faith as well, and that encourages me as well, and that gives me a lot of confidence because I put my faith in place for that. But generally, you know, just stepping out every day sometimes can be a real challenge for me. But I just think to myself, no, I just want to be good at what I do, and I want people to enjoy it. And also, I want people to understand that people like me can go and do these things, because sometimes we forget that. You know, that there may be a guy in a wheelchair and he goes, I can't DJ. Why can't you DJ? If you want to DJ, you can. You're only in a wheelchair. Okay, obviously you may have challenges of getting in and out of venues, but like me, I have a great people that help me. I can't carry the equipment, so I pay someone to do it. So, you know, if anything, I would say to anyone, there is no limitations.
Well, that actually makes you smarter than those of us with 2 arms that carry our own equipment. I should have hired someone to haul equipment for me ages ago.
Well, plus, I mean, I know a lot of guys with with the use of 2 hands and their strong back that have lots of limitations that they put in their mind.
Yeah. Well
beyond the ones that you're literally living in every day.
Yeah, no.
You've come out and so now you're actually besides DJing and spinning and mixing, now you've come out and you're emceeing events, telling stories and doing transitions and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so you've had to overcome like how you appear to your audience, because you know your one arm will kind of has a mind of its own sometimes. I mean, you hold it behind your back, but it'll raise. It'll kind of do kind of its own things, not like crazy, but it will. And so, like, how do you put your audience at ease in and around that? You know, because people can get weird, like, oh, this is different. You know how audiences can be.
It's strange, really. I mean, again, a lot of it for me is when I meet the client. Because the majority of my work now is weddings, so really I meet the client and I talk with the client, and then we build that relationship up. And then there comes that point where you feel, well, now's the time to tell them. You know, because you can sometimes see them, they feel a little bit uncomfortable, they may be not necessarily agitated, but there's questions being raised.
Right. But they don't know if they should say anything, or like everyone's just kind of being weird about it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I feel sometimes just lay it on the table, tell them what it is, you know, and then explain the situation. And I say to them, it doesn't make me a bad DJ. In fact, I can guarantee you that if I break my left arm, I'll still be DJing for you. If I break my right hand, I have a man that helps me. So he'll be
right. I'll tell him what to do.
So don't worry about it, you know. So, you know, I'm quite a determined guy, really. So, you know, in that way, I do tell a few jokes and stories that I've experienced in my life that puts them at ease, because, you know, in England, a lot of the time to deal with an issue, we talk about humour. And we bring humour up in it, and sometimes people react differently to that. So when I bring humour into my stories, because obviously I've had some very funny stories over the years,
I'm sure
that I just relate that story to the client. They go, oh, okay, yeah, no worries. So then once the bride and groom know, then the bride and groom share that with their guests, because they'll come and talk to their guests, and they go, what's wrong with him? And they say, well, that's what. Oh, okay. So I don't generally. So
you don't bring it up as an MC when you come out and introduce yourself. You don't like make a joke about it or acknowledge it anyway. So everyone's kind of like, oh, okay, we can be cool about this now.
I've never done that yet, but there's been times I've thought about it. But sometimes with a wedding, it's not about me. It's about Mr. and Mrs. Hermann.
Right.
And basically, I want Mr. and Mrs. Hermann to be relaxed and not bring anything up for me. But that's just my personal choice.
Yeah,
absolutely. You were DJing those youth clubs when you were younger, and then you kept doing this beyond the youth clubs. And when did you get to the point where you realized, hey, I'm pretty good at this? Or was there like, you know, a favorite show, or what happened to you as you went along?
Well, basically, through that, I'm a trained sound engineer, so I basically have a sound engineering background now, and through that, I was a sound engineer around the world for a number of bands, which was amazing.
Ooh. Wow!
And then I went into tour management, which was again a really cool thing. I travelled with some very big bands across the world, and through that, I gained that experience of being in that bigger environment. And then
Well, name drop a few. Let's hear it. Come on, where are some of the big bands?
This is time to brag, man. This is cool.
Spice Girls, a band called Five was another one. It was a boy band, and some other smaller bands that were just sort of bubbling around, that were doing tours with other bigger bands.
Cool.
So I was the man that was just making sure that we could get them to the venue. They did all the sound checks, everything else, got them to the hotel, and it's just really cool. I mean, it was a great lifestyle, but as everyone says, that must have been absolutely amazing. I mean, well, if you like going from an airport to a hotel to a venue, then back to the hotel, and then to a radio station, and meet the guys like you with the band and go, "Hi, we're from England,"
right?
And then leave there and go back to the hotel before you play the gig in the evening. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that sounds awesome to me.
Yeah.
But obviously I got to do some great things that I never ever thought that I'd be able to. And through that, I was still DJing. I never gave up DJing because it was the thing that gave me that confidence in a way. That going, well, people are paying me to do this, so I can't be bad. And no one ever said to me, "Oh, that was a rubbish gig. You shouldn't be DJing." And basically, I just built my own confidence up, and I had a great parent support network as well. I mean, earlier on, my dad used to drive me around with all my gear and load the gear in and load the gear out.
Wow, that's great.
And then obviously I got my own car, and then I got friends to help me. It's just been a real sort of sense of camaraderie over the years. So through that, I continued DJing, and then obviously I got involved in clubs and doing nightclubs because people liked what I was doing.
Right.
And some in a way, I was like a freak show to them. Because they were seeing things that they'd never seen before. They're going, "Hey man, you got to see this one-handed DJ. He's awesome."
You became the one-armed DJ.
And for me, it was great because I'm thinking, yeah. Look, I'm a one.
Right, you're like, "Oh, this is unique. This is actually a bonus. It's a curiosity rather than a deficiency."
That was my USP.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I remember trying to tell people I had 6 toes. It didn't help.
No, probably wouldn't. No.
So, what was the biggest nightclub crowd you ever worked with, or the most exciting thing you ever did with the clubs? Because in Europe, the club scene there, you're treated like a rock star, right?
Well, I generally first of all started out just as a local DJ doing local clubs.
Yeah.
And basically, someone saw me and they said, "Would you like to come and work in this club in London?" Which wasn't a massive club, but it was big enough. And I was doing 2 nights a week there. And then I then moved to another club just in South London. And I was working in the club, and in the VIP area, there was some DJs there. And all of a sudden, an agent come over to me and said, "Hey, Pete, we've seen what you're doing, and we'd love you to come and DJ with a fellow DJ in the VIP room." And I went, "Really?" Because again, because I do lack a little bit of confidence, and I'm not great with compliments. I found it really hard to deal with. And I'm going, "Really?" And I'm thinking, "Oh no." And then I'm thinking, he's just picking up on my USP again, isn't he? DJ, let's. So I thought, okay, I'll go. And so I then went from there into the VIP area to find out it was Norman Cook. Now, for those who don't know who Norman Cook is, it's Fatboy Slim.
Oh, how awesome. You must have been were you starstruck?
Understatement, that was. I actually thought that it was like a double, because I'm saying, "Hi, this is Norman Cook." I'm going, "Of course it is. Yeah, right."
Right.
I'm just waiting for someone to come out and say, "You've been punked."
Right.
And of course, so we signed a contract, and then that summer we flew out to Ibiza, and we were DJing out there for the end of the summer season, which was absolutely amazing. It was amazing.
So what were you doing? Were you opening for Fatboy Slim then?
Basically, yeah. There was about 5 DJs, all from the local area in Ibiza. That some of them are English DJs, some of those But I specifically was out there to go on before Fatboy Slim. And for me, that was every single night. It was like, are you sure?
Like, pinch yourself. Am I awake?
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was just awesome. And we had such great fun. We really did. And again, it's one of those things that in my life I say, do you know what? That was a pinnacle in my life.
Did you get a chance to chat with him and talk to him?
Yeah, we had a few chats. Generally, he had his own dressing room and I had my dressing room, but we'd sort of chatted before we went on off stage. It was good, just good fun.
Can you say that you learned anything with him or from him?
Without a doubt, presentation, because he was. It's really hard to try and explain. He had that presence. We talk on the entertainment experience about stage presence, yeah. Well, he had it. He didn't have to work it. He had it. He'd come, whether it's because of his fame, I don't know, but he come out and bang, it's like, hello everybody, and it just happened. You know, and for me, just that was, you know, him going high and everyone going high, you know, forget attention grabbers. He didn't need it.
Yeah. That's fantastic. And you know, this is like just your story and your experiences and the opportunities that come your way really is a testament to your dedication to mastery, like always working at mastery. And I never hear you once like say, well, you know, I had arrived or I was good enough, or it was, you know, what I was doing was good enough. And really like, that's so inspirational to me, even because it's like, okay, you never arrive. You just keep working at your mastery. It's something that you do. It's like we practice DJing. People practice medicine. You never stop learning, never stop developing, never stop growing, or you'll start backsliding, and great opportunities and really good stuff can happen, just like you described. So cool,
and
Pete.
Paying attention. You know, one of the things that's really amazing too is you were paying attention. You weren't just going through it. You were paying attention to what was happening in your life and around you. And because of it, the opportunities that arrived, you were able to actually be there and be a part of. And that's I know a lot of guys who had lots of opportunities thrown at them and they couldn't tell you anything about them or didn't see it while it was right there in front of them. So, you know, that's a gift I think you have as well, Pete, is that you really are living in the moment around who you are and what you do and the people around you. So when the opportunities arrive, you actually see them and then can actually revel in this beautiful thing that you've chosen to do.
It is hard though sometimes because there are times when it is a challenge, but I rise to the challenge because just a little story for me about a challenge.
Yeah.
So when I first had my stroke, I wanted to learn to swim, right? And swimming for me was a massive thing because I loved it before I had my stroke. And so I get in the pool and I just assumed that I get in the pool and I'll start swimming.
Right.
Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I just started going round and round in circles, which in itself was like, what is going on? So over a period of time, I decided, right, I want to get 10 yards. That's all I want to do first. And so I just kept trying. And over the weeks of swimming, I slowly built up a stroke that I was confident with that could help me swim. And now I swim very well. And I swim with one hand very well. And I'm really proud of that because I did that myself. You know, it's the same with golf. Unless you can find a one-handed golfer, which, to be fair, there isn't that many in England. Well, if there are, I haven't found them. To teach me to play golf, so I had to learn to play golf myself. DJing, another example, I had to learn to do it myself. Because Bill, Jason, you're two really great guys. I spent a few days with you in London, right? But you've got two hands. So you have to look at things differently to the way I do. So I have to work around the things that you tell me to do through the entertainment experience. I need to work that around in my life because I need to make it Pete friendly. Because if I can't be Pete friendly, then I can't give the give the moment to the client, because I'll be too busy worrying about what might happen. So in your saying, Bill, just summing up, in the moment, I have to be in the moment, and I have to work out what that moment is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that in itself can be really, really difficult.
Yeah, you know something, Pete? You are really an extraordinary guy. I am so glad that I know you. This is. The more I talk to you, the more stories I hear, the more I'm going to stop whining right now. And you're a gifted performer.
Thank you ever so much.
As well. And it was a pleasure to get to know you and to have you in our workshop, and to see you shine there was really amazing. And to see the successes you're having beyond, it's, you know, something. Thanks again for being a part of our life. You're quite a human being.
Well, no, as I say, it's not. As weird as it sounds, it's not about me. All right, it's not about.
Well, today it is, Mister.
Right.
It's all about you. So quiet down
and
take the compliment.
So is this now the Bill, Jason, and Pete show? Is that what we're saying?
There you go.
Excellent. Well, good. I appreciate that, but
we'll send you half of everything we make for the Bill and Jason show, which is nothing. But you got it, baby.
I'll be happy with nothing. As long as I have your presence.
Oh,
but
Pete.
No, again, thank you ever so much. It's always a joy talking to you both.
Yes,
and I just hope that, you know, that through what I say today may be an inspiration to others, because, you know, don't be stuck in the moment, be the moment.
Well, you're an inspiration to me, and I know that just from what Bill says, you're an inspiration to him as well, if I can speak for Bill. And thanks so much for being on the Bill and Jason show this week. This is going to be an episode to remember. In fact, I think we'll rerun this one a few times.
Oh, that's probably a good idea. And if you want to catch the reruns, all you got to do is subscribe to our YouTube page. You can go to billandjason.com. You can like us on Facebook. You can tweet all of our tweeters. It's great.
Thanks ever so much. Take care.
Broadcasting from high atop planet Earth at a rate of 96 kilobytes sampled per second over the interweb in an effort to stop glorifying being busy. This has been an entertainment experience production.